if you're wondering why I'm dressed like kind of an uncle, I belong more on a Bali beach today, because I feel like today's dress should reflect more of the kind of customer that would be appealed to a car that we're reviewing today. And I feel like this is the kind of thing that the person would wear, don't you think? Well, the car that we're reviewing today is none other than a Hyundai Staria 3.5 litre V6. And as you can see, it is a massive, massive thing. It's really, really huge. Kind of like the belly that I have here. Now let's check it out. Did you know that if you're trading in your car, you could be losing up to $5,000 worth of value? Now, if you want to trade in your car, you should try Quotz by sgCarMart. They'll refer your car to their network of dealers to get you the best price possible. And if you find a better price, they'll actually give you $100. Now, don't just take our word for it. Look at the hundreds of raving reviews on their service. Now, to find out more about it, visit quotz.com.sg. That's quotz.com.sg. Now, let's go on with the review. Immediately, you notice that the size of it, it's close to 2 meters tall. I'm 1.75 meters. It's a really kind of like an optical illusion. You need to see it next to other cars juxtaposed before you really take in the gravity of the size of this Staria. And the first thing that you also notice is this magnificent LED daytime running strip, this LED light bar. And I think it really speaks for itself. I'm not going to say much else about it, so producer just put on like 30 seconds of B-roll with some really intense music, like the Dark Knight. Okay, let's go. Like the Dark Knight. Like the Dark Knight. How's that? Oh my god! Damn cool, right? I told you. Wow! So right now over here you have this huge Hyundai logo, really big because it's a really big car. If you have a small one, it's gonna look really weird. But what I find so immaculate about this is the color. Just take a look at that bronze chrome trim. This is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it's plastic, but gee, they make the plastic look so good. Over here you have your honeycomb mesh grille as well, and same color treatment, so it really looks so amazing against the black, the simple black. And down here you get this kind of diamond triangle pleated pattern onto the plastic. Looks really good, but of course you have your cutouts, which are your proximity distance warnings that tell you how close you are to something in front, and that's really useful on a car of this size. Now over here you have your headlamp cluster, so you have your signal indicators as well as your lights, your high beams, low beams, and you can see the projector bulbs inside these kind of sort of Lego blocks that projects so much light onto the road, because driving at night with this, it's no problem. Now onto the side. Now onto the side of the Staria, starting off you get 18-inch diamond cut alloy wheels that look really lovely, not too huge, not too small on this 2 meter tall Staria. And you also get really huge mirrors so you can see everything safely from the outside to the rear wheels when you're parking. Everything can be seen on this mirror. You also get LED indicators as well as the little camera bump that houses the camera that gives you that 360 feed. Now the predecessor to the Staria is actually the Hyundai Starex, which is a goods vehicle, a van, and you can see some of that coming through. For instance, over here, this side window, it actually doesn't wind down like your usual car window. It's actually a window that pops open. And other than that, the whole design is very inoffensive. It's very smooth, very flowing. You don't really get any sharp edges except for these little door handles that come out that kind of spoil the smooth flowiness of the Staria. But other than that, not much else. Now let's move on to the back. The Hyundai Staria is priced at $239,000. The 3.5-litre V6 engine produces 268 brake horsepower and 331 Nm of torque. The 8-speed transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km per hour in 8.9 seconds. For more details on the Hyundai Staria or any other car, head on to sgCarMart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Now onto the rear, you get these two massive pillars of LED lights that's kind of like pixel little design, the little blocks, and they look really good. They remind me actually of the Hyundai Ioniq 5, and that's something that I really look forward to. But these lights look really good, and they're also encased in a little plastic or glass housing Talking about glass, you get a huge rear windscreen and this little Staria design that's really subtle, cut out from the material underneath and also behind the windscreen. Now, inside you get a massive boot space that opens really tall. Just look at this. It looks so sharp, this boot. This is the boot space that you see. It won't pass the anti-trolley length test, it won't pass this luggage length test actually, but it can stand rather tall. So if you do need more space, you can take these out, push this, pull this strap so the seats go down, lift this, and then so you get space to load a lot more stuff. Now another thing about the Staria is the load lip. Well, there is none. Loading things onto the Staria is going to be extremely easy. In fact, you can just drive up to a park, open up the tailgate and just have a picnic right from the boot. The tailgate is super high, so in fact 1.75 meters. I'm not having any problems at all. Now let's check out the inside. Now on to the best part, the second row of the seats of the Staria. Look, you don't even need to operate the door. The car does it for you. That's something that even the driver and front passenger don't have. So you also get aircon for your second and third row that you can control with the panel here. You can select the fan speed as well as the temperature, even where you want it to blow. And then you get aircon vents and a covered moonroof that has to be operated by the driver. You also get cup holders for your iced coffee or your cocktail. And then fast charging USB ports and a further coverage space for your wallet, whatever. Hooks to put your branded bags and magazine pouches, and the second row captain seat that you can adjust from side to side as well as front and back. And most importantly, when you want to relax in maximum comfort, hold on to this button and let it do the magic. And then you're just going to be put into reclining mode. Your legs are going up, your head is held comfortably, and the seats are ventilated so your back is cool. And then you're just gonna relax. Didi, wake up. Sorry, that was a bit too comfortable, but you get what I mean. Another thing about these side passenger windows for the second row is privacy screens that are built in. So if you do wish to just put it into the notch, you can see out, they can't see in, and it's so comfortable because it also blocks the heat out. And if you want to interact with the outside world again, open this up. There you go. Hello, I know it's a very nice car. You're welcome. It's an honor to see this car. And then you don't hear the peasants anymore. Okay, in case you don't like, for some reason, ventilated second row captain seats, you can always retire to the third row bench, which is still plenty comfortable. It is a third row, so you're not gonna get your full resting. But look at what I can do with my legs. I can just rest them. So much space. I can rest my legs fully. I take this over an economy flight any day. And then for some reason, if you don't, if family man, you have some kids that have a little accident, you want to air out the seats. And for some reason, maybe you're driving. Let's say you're driving, so you can't open up the big door on the side. But you can just pop this open and open up for some air to flow out, some ventilation. Let the air out. And then you're done with that. You don't want to see it. Pull out the privacy screen. This car does everything. This car does everything. And then you get USB charging, fast charging, so your kids in the rear, Papa, when are we reaching? Papa, where are we going? I want to go home, I want to play my phone. They won't complain because you have USB fast charging. 2 of them. I don't know where's the third one, too bad, but they can fight for it. You also get cup holders, blue lighting, some ambient lighting here, as well as still a little bit of the aircon. So this is plenty comfortable, especially if you're not hauling a full family. If you don't want to sit in the captain's seat, you can just lie down on this rear bench. You can stretch your legs out. Look at that. This is crazy. How can this car fit inside a single lane on the road? But at the same time, a Honda Fit can do the same, but you can't do any of this in the Honda Fit. This is ridiculous. It's insane. Now, let's go try out the fun part, which is testing out that V6. Now, inside the Staria, you get no shortage of storage spaces. Let's start with cup holders. You get 1 cup holder, 2 cup holders, 3 cup holders, 4 cup holders. And this is just for the front passenger and driver itself. And then after cup holders, you get storage spaces by the door. Here's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then in front of the instrument panel, another one.
Another one.
Behind the entertainment panel, another one.
Another one.
In front of the glove box, another one.
Another one.
This place for your phone, another one.
Another one.
Underneath the entertainment unit, another one.
Another one.
Center console, another one.
Another one.
Center console, another one.
Another one.
This giant Staria saying box, another one.
Another one.
This is the Hyundai Staria, or should I call it the Hyundai Staria.
Boo!
Onto the instrument panel. This is a very standard instrument panel that you get in most Hyundais now. Not to say there's anything wrong with standard, they look really good. The definition is high, you can see the graphics really clearly. You can read things like your speedometer, your rev counter, your lane keeping assist. Really standard in all Hyundais now, which isn't a bad thing. It looks really good. Same goes for this entertainment panel. The only thing different is this housing, which has some touch buttons that actually in other Hyundais may be the regular push buttons. Over down here, you get all of your aircon controls, fan speed, temperature, ventilated seats, which are a godsend in Singapore's weather. And what I really like is dedicated 360 camera button. So at a push of a button, say if you're in traffic, because sometimes in other cars, it only comes on when you put on the reverse, but sometimes you're in traffic, gridlock, and you want to know if you're safe to go. This is something that's going to help a lot. And it's not like some cars, if they don't have the 360 cameras, then maybe they don't need that. But some cars come with cameras all around, but without a button for you to check it out. That is so annoying. So on the front of the top panel, you do get these buttons that can control your left and right door, as well as the power tailgate. You can control your front sunroof and the rear moonroof cover. Pretty neat. But one thing I'm not too sure about is this. I kind of wonder why. It feels like it should be a sunglasses holder that you push and it pops out, but it just doesn't do anything. Now let's go for a drive. So we're kind of indoors right now. We normally don't film indoors because this kind of light. But I just wanted to show you right now how quiet this Staria is. Even though it's a 3.5 litre, it's silent, it's pin drop silent. You don't even hear a thing. That's impressive. The sound dampening on this thing is out of this world. Another 5 Starias out of 5 Starias. You don't hear a thing. But when you do want to kick down and kick that into 8,000 RPM, and you hear the roar of that V6, and now we're going over a stiff hum, a really stiff one, and it feels really comfortable. I know of lesser cars that would just feel like they're gonna get shaken to the bones, but this Staria does it really well. Very, very good. I can't stop saying very good. Please, producer, please put in a lot more of the things that I say I didn't like about this car, because if not, they're gonna think I'm crazy. But it is what it is. So over here we're a little bit of a windy road with a lot of bumps. And you can see actually it's really comfortable driving the Staria. It's not harsh at all. It soaks up really well. And I'm not just saying that. You can see it in how the video looks. It soaks up the humps really well. You can go over it. You don't have to slow down to a halt. It soaks up really well. So there's a big pump coming up, and you can see it just going at that's 40. It's really comfortable. I mean, normally I wouldn't hit that at that speed, but that's just to demonstrate how well the suspension is set up, and it's really well. It's really so comfortable. And then going around the curves, even though your sitting position is quite high, it still feels rather confident. Now you're not going to throw this around a bend at 70 kilometers per hour, but it can still go at a relatively quick speed without feeling like it's going to topple over. So that's something that I can't say for vans though. So even though this is kind of born out from a van, you don't feel that. You don't get that downside. So one of the issues about the Staria, which is kind of its plus point, it's so huge, it's so comfortable, it's so spacious. But that's also its drawback because it's measuring in at 5.2 by 2 meters by 2 meters, that length by width and height. And it doesn't fit into most car parks. It's actually 1990 millimeters, so that's 199 centimeters. Some car parks are 1.85 meters, 1.9 meters. And to show you exactly, for you, the viewer, to show you how far we take these things, this test, we're going to drive into a typical car park. In fact, worse than a typical car park, this is our work car park. And the cut off is 2 meters. And this Staria is 1.99 meters. So that's just 1 centimeter of space. And I hope that bar is measured correctly, because if not, if it scraps, then I'm gonna have to pay for it. I'm sorry, Hyundai. Here we go. This is the 2 meter bar. And I'm gonna go really slowly because I don't want any bumps to scratch the top off. And I think that we're clear. But now herein presents another problem, because there are many cars on the right and left, and this is a huge car, so you're just gonna have to go slow. Be very careful. Actually got horn once, but please be patient. It helps that I have this camera set up, this 360 camera, so I can see on the left and on the right how careful I have to be. And it actually gives me a lot more confidence, even though I'm still very, very wary, because I don't want to return this with a huge scratch drag along the side of the paintwork. Oh yeah, and it's not too bad. So even though it's so huge, the tech really, really helps. Oh my god, this view, we're currently going from KPE to SLE, and the view, this is one of the most amazing views. And there's something that you get at the Staria because of the very high ride height. And you just feel like, I feel like I'm driving a bus, and not in a bad way. I feel really comfortable. Great, massive fields of view. I can see everything around me. These huge windows. The view is insane, and I can see very nice a TP, so I'm just gonna drive very safely, as I always do. And very nice scenery. 3.5 litre V6 engine. Oh, listen to that. That's something that you want inside an MPV. You're not gonna find that on an authorized dealer Alphard. You're not gonna find that on the Serena. You're not gonna find that on the Odyssey. This is what you get with the Staria 3.5 litre V6 on tap. Listen to that roar, and it's a V6. You can actually go for a 3.5 litre Alphard if it's a parallel import. But even then, even for a parallel import Alphard, the 3.5 litre is gonna cost you somewhere close to $400,000. This 3.5 litre Staria is somewhere closer to under 240,000. So I am quite thoroughly impressed by this offering. It's great power on tap, and then pedal shifter. So if you really wanna hear the melodic roar of the engine anytime you want, power, comfort, tech, so much tech. I flick the signal indicators, I can see my side view mirror camera, the blind spot monitor, huge mirrors, bigger than my face, and then I can see everything. This huge windscreen, huge windows. What's not to love about this MPV? And that's why I would call it, is it an Alphard killer? I would think so. And if I'm not wrong, even in Korea, they're using these to ferry around the K-pop idols and such, because why not? This speaks so much status, power, comfort. The lounge seats behind, your captain seats for the second row, ventilated seats, great views, and super comfortable. And on the outside, what does it look like? It looks like a sick spaceship. That's kind of why they call it the Staria. It is kind of the taking over the Starex, which is the Hyundai van previously. But the Staria, star, you know, of course it's a star. And it does look exactly like a spaceship. And the first time I saw this Staria, I thought that it was going to be an electric vehicle, an electric van, because it matches so well. It's out of this world design. But no, this is just a good old 3.5 litre V6 petrol, and then you hear that. Ooh, 200 and somewhere at 241 brake horsepower. I may be wrong. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. Producer, number me.
I have no idea.
He has no idea too. 0 to 100 is somewhere in 8.9 seconds. But does it really matter when it sounds like, oh, whew. It's kind of a dangerous car because you want to have so much fun in this, and then you're not low slung two-seater like the SLK in front. You're riding high like a king. I'm looking over the divider. I can see over the bushes, having a great field of view. I can see everything. I can see the roads in front. I can see people behind. Instrument cluster is kind of small. Relatively, you can find this in all new kind of Hyundai models. They all use the same panel, the same design. But in this really large car, it is looks kind of small, but it's sufficient and it looks good. And another thing, you get really muted signal clicks, and it just feels. That's the safety warning. It's telling me that there's a van in my blind spot. But I like how it clicks. It's so muted. And even for an MPV, it soaks up the bumps so well. Going over humps, honestly, kids in the back, you can go very, you don't have to slow down to a halt to cross those bumps. Really comfortably, this Staria soaks it all up. It really feels like, I cannot stop comparing this to a spaceship because it feels like a spaceship. Oh, and the comfort, like this headrest, you have to test it to believe it. I feel like, I'm gonna get flamed for this. I feel like I'm inside a Maybach, and you know how they have those fluffy pillows on top of the headrest? You have to test it to believe it. This is insanely comfortable. I once asked my friends, like, what's so special about MPV? Like, you get MPV when you wanna, settle down. You're a family man. But driving this MPV, you feel special because it's still delivering on everything else, but it's not compromising on power or style. This is an MPV that does it all. And in case you're wondering why I'm wearing this shirt, because today when I opened my wardrobe, it spoke to me. It's a bit weird, right? Speaking wardrobe, but it said, you're driving a Staria, you should look the part. And I feel like this is something. This is something that someone who buys a Staria would wear. Someone more matured, he's a big family, and he takes life easily. This is for the holidays, having a little fun, bringing the family around, carefree driving, everything done so comfortably, living the life. If you watch Modern Family, feels that. I kind of feel like this is someone who would really enjoy the Staria. And then not to be shortchanged anywhere, but there's so many safety features. Your blind spot monitor appearing on your signal indicators in the instrument cluster. It's reading to me the speed limit warnings. I have a very beautiful view of all my advanced driving assistance features. I can turn on smart cruise control. It's going at 95 right now on lane 1, and then lane keeping assist. It just pushed me back into lane. I have to keep my hands on the wheel, but I'm not doing any steering. It is following the curve of the road, following the car in front. This is level 2 self-driving. If I want to sit so comfortably in this, I really feel like I'm driving a big bus, and I'm not complaining. I feel like I could set this from Jurong to Tampines and just be ever so comfortable in my captain's seat, in my ventilated captain's seat. Big sunroof, huge views, and then it's practically driving itself, keeping a safe distance, maintaining the lane. What's not to love about this Staria? It's a really good job, and at a competitive price point, most importantly, because what's the point of making a car with all the bells and whistles, but in the end you have to pay the amount of a condominium for a car like that. But this is around the price of a 3-room BTO. I mean, yeah, that's a bit crazy to think about, but comparatively to Singapore's market, to the other MPVs in the market, to the near $100,000 COE, this is a very competitive offering, and I'm failing to see any downsides to this Staria. I did say that I can't really find any shortcomings about this Staria, but actually I thought about one, and it really comes up when driving. And this bugbear does come up quite a bit because it's every day when you're driving. I like that it's amazing that it has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the wireless charger and an angle. It's not like my Avante where it's really hard to access. It's really easy to put in. But the infotainment unit, you can tell it's still made for the left-hand drive market, because the screen is ever so slightly tilted away from the driver. And so that's a little bit annoying when, you know, I can see my maps, I can see my ways clearly, but it's just this tiny little thing that everything else is done right. It's this plastic on the infotainment unit. It's really lovely to see and touch, this touch buttons. But it's just that the screen is tilted ever so slightly. Your controls are a little bit further from you, so you do need a little bit of a reach. That's one downside I can think of. Otherwise, I really still like how the center console is done. This gloss black plastic, it looks really nice. It feels nice to press. It feels nice to touch. All the buttons look good, and the gear shift. Honestly, I'm not really so much a fan of these kind of button gear shifts. I think the stick is still nice, even if it's fly-by-wire, so you don't necessarily need the stick. But it's growing on me, if I'm honest, and I like the way they finished the buttons, so it does feel like, oh, it looks kind of metallic, but it is plastic. But done well. Good job, Hyundai. More Starias are the Starias. 50 stars, 50 Starias. Now, another setback of this is because the Staria is evolved from the Starex, so you still feel a lot remnants of its van-like life. I mean, it pretty much is a van that became a car, but like these huge windows, many of these panels that are still like plastic. But I'm kind of okay with it, because you get a lot of utility, a lot of space, and it's very hardy. You know that it's gonna last very, very long. But sometimes you just can't help but shake that it kind of has that van vibe, that van feeling. But I think you get over it, because overall I really love having to drive this, and then that V10 that V6 is addictive. And for a family hauler, it kind of feels out of place. But I am not complaining, because it puts such a smile on the face of whoever's driving this. Now, the Hyundai Staria. Is this car a will buy, won't buy, or go try? I have to say, this car, for me, it is a will buy. Why? Number one, because of its insane looks, insane design. This is quite literally out of this world. It was inspired, it was thought of in mind of the stars when they designed it. And that's why it looks like a spaceship. Hyundai is knocking it out of the park, and I don't just say this because I drive an Avante. It's really such a shame that they didn't bring in the Sonata. So it really carries over all of this new age Hyundai design that you see in the Avante, you see in the Tucson hybrid, and of course this Staria. Imagine this driving up behind you at night. All you see is that LED strip, and then this imposing, you're like, oh my god, what car is it? And I can tell you, driving this Staria it is an absolute head turner. Everyone looks, oh my god, what is that car? What is that thing? The design is out of this world. It's competitively priced. It has a V6 3.5 liter. It has a lot of plenty of safety tech features. So this car, it's a very strong contender. I think it's an alpha killer. I think over the next few years we'll start to see a lot more of these roads, and not to forget, there's the soft power of this car as well, because the more people consume K-pop, K-media, you see a lot of idols and stars sitting in these limousines, and you'll feel like, oh my god, I want to sit in the Staria lounge. And trust me, you will want to sit in the Staria lounge, because I know I want to sit in the Staria lounge. I normally love driving, but I wouldn't mind being driven around in this because you get captain seat, you get it can prop up your legs, you get individual aircon, you get second row aircon at the rear, you get ventilated seats. This is the total package, so I would be really happy with this, and that's why this car for me is a go buy, will buy. So this has been our review of the Hyundai Staria 3.5 litre V6. What do you think? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Let us know down in the comments, as well as any other cars that you'd like to see us try. Let us know down in the comments, because we do read every single one of these comments. And we do notice that some of you unsubscribed, so you can take a look here. Bing! So do consider giving us a subscribe, because it really helps our channel. It really helps us tell us what videos do you guys like, what videos you guys don't like. And also follow us at TikTok at sgCarMart. And that's all for today, so thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.
Okay.
Fold this down. The car. Sorry, one more. Sorry. It's all one big. Let's do it again. 3, 2, 1.